We are.
That was pretty good.
It's just.
Sparkle, sparkle. Let's make the magic.
Glowy, glowy.
Going to be a bright, sunshiny day.
Hey, my future's so bright I have to wear shades.
Indeed. I've been blinded by the light of the spark.
Doot, 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 doot.
Caught up like a... Never mind.
Deuce?
Deuce, yes.
Is that...
That's the word I was going to use.
What are they referring to?
I think it's a car or something. I forget.
I thought it was like a joint or something.
Yeah, I forget. If you know, caught up like a deuce means, put it in the comments.
I don't think they mean like going to the bathroom.
I know
like
not.
Dropping
I know
a dude.
that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's not that.
I mean, it was the 70s. They weren't very classy, but you know,
That's fair.
Okay.
All right. Roll the intro.
The history of the Gallic lands is one of struggle, punctuated by moments of sheer brilliance.
Tartan is Scotland's gift to the world, and it is your
Possibly me
personal
too.
heritage story.
Howdy do, boys and girls. Welcome to Kilts of Culture. I'm Rocky. It's Eric.
Yate.
Today, special treat we have from our good friend Andrew Rothstein, Talisker Single Malt Whiskey Distillers Edition.
Mm-hmm.
This is super fancy. Super fancy. I'll pour this out here. Mac, do you have any? Oh, you got to come collect your glass. We'll tell people what tartans we're wearing today.
You already forgot the steps?
Yeah. All right. Here you go.
Hi, Mac.
Why?
How's it going?
What do you have on there, Mr. Mac?
I've got Steward of Appin Ancient on today. Hunting Ancient.
Very nice. Super pretty. Thank you, Mac.
And away he goes.
Eric.
County Leitrim.
County Leitrim. Very nice. I like that one. Like that one a lot.
Yep, beautiful.
And today I have on our brand new Spark Tartan. So we'll be talking about that a little bit later in the show. But first, whiskey. So, Mac, our good friend Andrew Rothstein gave us the Talisker. What can you give me about the nose?
The nose.
The news.
A grapey sweetness and clean.
Grapey, sweetness, and clean. I don't...
I'm just getting
No,
smokiness.
I get a little smoky, but I get the grape.
Now they say grape, I'm
got the
getting grape.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a...
It's tannins, I think. You know.
Yeah, we
so
just opened it for the first time.
Make you think of like red wine. But
Well, it was
we
in
should-
cherry cask.
we
So.
really should open these sooner. But
Tell you what I'm getting. Not just smoked, but like smoked meat, specifically.
did you get enough for lunch?
Yeah, I
You
like
having a
it.
stroke?
I maybe. Get a little bit of smoked meat on. I don't know. Okay. I like it. It's got a good nose. It's not super complex, but it's a nice, like, level nose
Now
to
I'm
it.
fighting a cold, so I think I'm at a disadvantage here. But
Like smoked sausagey, kind of hot doggy, kind of.
I don't know hot dogs and sausage
Yeah.
smells like grapes, but
you never had a grape
know.
sausage? Jeez.
All right. You going for a sip?
I already did. I might have you.
Ooh, a lot of peat.
well, it's a crisp peat, softens to richness,
To richness.
then wafts around sweet, roasted malt, leaving a healthland dryness. Wood controls the pepper. Slightly oily sweetness. Ripe and juicy fruit.
Chewing gum.
I got about 2/3 of that. Now, as you're saying it, like I get
It's
it.
like the random
I get
tasting notes generator.
I get the pepper on the sides of the mouth. I get a little bit of the oiliness. I do get the wood, definitely.
Yeah,
A lot of wood.
Yeah.
But now the finish you're saying is deep cocoa, vanilla, and lingering, earthy peat, sweet dry balance.
I'll buy that.
Led by the sweetness. I think I definitely get the cocoa at the end.
See, now I'm getting the fruitiness. now I'm getting the sherry flavor because it was, I guess you said it was a cherry cask.
Yeah, sherry
Yeah.
cast. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm definitely tasting that now.
A little bit of water. Open it up.
I'm not gonna lie, I do kind of like this one though.
Water cut the
smoky.
wood. Well, the smoke is still there, and I'm still getting the pepperiness on the sides of the mouth, but cut the wood way down. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I didn't, a little bit, not too much. Yeah.
You're right.
I definitely say this
It's
one.
still peppery.
Yeah, it's still a touch peppery, not overbearing, but it's still
No.
there. It's still a profile.
No, I actually pretty well like this.
This doesn't suck.
It doesn't suck. And we've had some real dogs on this show, let me tell you. But the
On a scale of dog's dinner to doesn't suck.
no,
How-
I like a mix of flavors. You
Yeah.
know, it's like it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
too peaty and it's not bland, like just sweet. But I think the real answer is I tend to prefer things that are sherry cask. I
Yeah,
think that's probably it. It's my grandmother.
I still get a little bit of a meat smokiness on the nose on it.
So now you just led the witness because now I'm smelling it again like this. Now I am smelling. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Nope. A little bit of a cherry vanilla.
Yeah, a little cherry.
Little cherry.
Okay. Not bad. All in all,
A little huckleberry.
yeah. I am your
I like.
Huckleberry.
I like.
All right. Mac, how you feeling about Talisker? Any other flavor notes you want to talk about before we get into the score?
Not that I'm aware of. I think we hit them all.
Okay. Anything you're getting out of it? How you feeling about it?
I think I'm gonna go on this one. I think I'll go like 7-6.
7-6.
Wow,
Okay.
I think
that's
it's-
up there. That's up there.
Okay. Good score. Solid
Okay.
score.
Okay.
Eric.
I was gonna do somewhere in the 6s, but now I feel like I'm in competition with Mac, so I'm gonna go a little higher. I'll say 6.8
Okay.
because
Okay.
I do like this. In fact, if you need me to test at home, I can get my family to do some extra research for it.
Well,
Yeah.
considering Mac rated it higher, I'm more apt to give it to him. Eric's like, I
No,
love
no,
this a
because
9.
He knows I'm the one who needs further convincing.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
So
I'm gonna go.
I like this one.
I'm right there with Mac. I don't want to copy a score, so I'll say 7.5. It's good.
It's
I
good.
like it. I like
It's good.
it.
Very balanced. It's a little desserty because it's so sweet,
Yeah.
but it's got enough smoke in it that's not boring.
I don't get that much sweet. I
Tastes
get
very sweet to me.
I get more pepper. So that's why I brought it back down. If there was less pepper, I'd probably rate it about an 8.
Not noticing the pepper the same way.
I noticed the pepper, but I think it sweetens out at like the longer sitting here, like it's really sweetens out a lot.
I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not bad. And I think that we also probably did a disservice, which we always do. I think if we let this open up for longer and just kind of sit and breathe for a few minutes,
We
for
should
10
break
minutes.
the show into 2 parts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First rating, second rating. It's like first dinner, second dinner, or first breakfast, second breakfast. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, boys and girls. As always, we are here, a bunch of humble servants, to answer whatever questions you have, kilts or culture related. Put them down in the comments.
But first,
Before we get started, we're going to have a word from our sponsor.
here, I'll put on my sponsor glasses.
Sponsor?
Hello. Hey, do you find yourself hungry for kilts and culture between meals? Do you feel a little peckish for a little taste of that Celtic goodness, that kilt knowledge that satisfies? Well, be sure to check out the Kilts and Culture Clips channel right here on the YouTubes, my friends, for all the classic clips, including how to wear ghillie brogues, why buckle brogues suck, when to wear a sash, when not to wear a sash, how to put pants on... No, just kidding about that one. Check out our Clips channel
Thank you.
on the YouTubes.
Thank you. Back to me now.
Back to you, Rocky.
In all seriousness, I wanted to remind people we actually have a second channel. We have this, our main channel, and then we take all the clips from this show, little bite-sized nuggets of information, and we port those over to our our Kilts and Culture Clips channel.
Right.
So check that out on YouTube, and please, we would be humbly, eternally grateful if you would give us a subscribe over there. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, like it and share with friends. I'll also add a
Like it now.
Yeah, I'll also add a quick note that Rocky is almost very regularly doing TikTok live sessions now on Fridays at
Usually
like,
2 o'clock-ish.
Yeah, 1:30, 2 o'clock. Tune in for that to watch him go through tartans like crazy man, like with a memory that I
Highly
cannot fathom.
caffeinated.
Yeah, extremely caffeinated. Hyper Rocky.
You think this Rocky's bad? And I'm also doing it on YouTube a little bit as well.
YouTube
We're
on
trying
Mondays,
it out on
right?
Mondays on YouTube, doing some off the cuff live stuff there as well. Yeah, different than here. It's where I basically look up people's tartans. So you put your names in the chat, and then I look up people's tartans, and then answer whatever questions you have then too. But it's more of a rapid fire kind of show. All right,
fun.
enough of that. Eric,
Hi.
what question do we have to lead off?
We have a question from Mr. Theodore Dubel. And he says, what tartan would you recommend for a 1700s, that is 18th century, style costume for someone of the nobility, as in something like a duke or an earl? So we're doing 18th century, presumably Highland or Scottish at the very least. And what would you wear?
First, may I adjust your necklace, pretty please? It's going to drive me nuts if I don't do this before.
It's going to keep.
It's going to keep doing
I'm
that.
just gonna,
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to keep doing that. Just
Okay.
show it off.
Okay, show it off
Show it
once.
off
There
for
you go.
y'all.
Look how
There you
pretty
go.
it is.
Yep.
Then
My
took it
bear
out.
claw.
Yes. What was the question again?
How many bear claws does Eric own? What tartan would you recommend for a 1700s style costume for someone of the nobility?
Yes. So, 1700s. Keeping in mind that this, for the most part, predates clan tartans. There weren't a lot of, no register at that point, so there's no registered clan tartans. But there are some clan tartans, not many. The clan tartans really weren't a thing until the very, very late 1700s to mid 1800s is really the golden age of clan tartans and adopting clan tartans. So, Eric, what clan or what tartan or tartans would you select?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about, fair disclosure, we talked about this a little bit earlier because it is something that's been on our minds lately because we've been very much in the 18th century recently with various projects. And what we've determined is really your best, in my opinion, not going with a well-known clan tartan because, as we just stated, most of those really came about in the 19th century. They were part of the Highland Revival, the Scottish Revival. There are one or two examples of clan tartans that predate that period, but not many. Mostly tartan was done for the beauty of it, the intrinsic enjoyment of it, etc., etc. So, a nice, richly colored tartan of any style could be serviceable. We do know that colors that were preferred in the 18th century were especially red. If you were of rank, red was very much a status symbol. Blues and I think greens, basically. So any tartan that is in that range. If you want an example of somebody who had money and is of the period, then the best example we could think of that we wanted to show you was from the Grant clan. And that
Grant
was
1714.
Yeah, the tartan is modernly known as Grant 1714. And it's made famous by these paintings. Cambot, bring it up on Still Store.
This is the Loch Heron reproduction of the Grant 1714 tartan that is on the screen right now. And it was extrapolated from the following paintings. Bam. Right there.
Right, and basically what you're seeing here is Alistair Moore Grant, who was the Laird's champion, and William Cumming, who was the Laird's piper. And basically,
Peter MacDonald, in conjunction with
Loch Heron,
did research on these paintings and extrapolated the data, and essentially Loch Heron recreated the tartan from these paintings.
And these are significant because Laird Grant was the first member of the aristocracy to actually use tartan for livery. Livery, if you're not familiar, is the term for uniform for your staff. So basically, if you think of like, in the Victorian age, butlers' uniforms and things like coachmen and stuff, and having certain colors or maybe having a crest here, their uniform was called livery. That goes back to the Middle Ages. He was the first one to use tartan as livery. In other words, he bought a bunch and put all of his staff in it. Hence those two paintings. So that is the ideal example of what we're talking about here.
Sort of like estate tweeds today.
A bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Sort
yeah.
of like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an ID factor and a vanity thing, frankly. So if you're going to do any kind of a recreation or impression of that time period of a noble, again, pick a tartan that's either really, really, really obscure clan tartan, so nobody's going to know what it is, but preferably go with a universal or a district tartan or something like that. Ideally in something more like what we now call an ancient color palette, so it's trying to mimic vegetable dyes. They did have brighter colors than most people give them credit for. However, you don't want something that's really in your face. Bright colors, probably just a little more softly.
It would have worn over time.
Like the green, yeah, but it wasn't as worn down then as it is now. But the tones were a bit softer. Avoid brown, avoid purple, and avoid, I think, like bright royal red as opposed to like a blood red. You know what I mean?
We're about to talk about one in a second that's a bright red.
Yeah, but I'm cooling over shades.
Yeah.
But the point is, they didn't necessarily combine those colors, especially not purple. Definitely don't do purple.
Yeah.
But reds were preferred by the aristocracy as part of their status. So that'd be my best advice.
Yeah. The other advice that we would give, and we're gonna let a little bit of a cat out of a bag here. We promised not to actually show the tartans, but we're going to let a little bit of a cat out of a bag. The House of Edgar is, I don't know if you follow them on Facebook, but over the last 2 weeks or so, they've been kind of teasing this thing, hashtag Genesis of Tartans. They're coming out with a 6 tartan collection, so a smaller collection, mid-January, that they are calling a Genesis tartan, where they actually plucked the Glen Affric tartan, which is the OG, the oldest known Scottish,
so that one's
dyed
already
tartan.
out there.
That one's already out there, and 5 others, and then they're going to be weaving these as stock supported. But these are pre-clan tartans. These are tartans that date to the Jacobites. These are tartans that date to the lost tartan is what, mid 18 or early 1800s.
1820s.
So it's not it's not too late on the time scale. It just barely starts to overlap the clan tartan thing. But they're telling the story of the original tartans and kind of the lost story, the story of what happened before clan tartans and how tartan came to be clan tartans.
Mm-hmm.
So that collection, as I said, is dropping what's January 17th, I think, somewhere around there. And we're doing a really, really, really cool 3 content pieces around that same thing as well. What is your piece called that you've done?
Dun dun dun! The Cloth of Rebellion.
Basically, we interweave, no pun intended, some of the tartans, which are from the House of Edgar collection, into where they were in the timeline of the story of the 45. Covering the entire 45 is something I would love to do, but that's like hours upon hours of doing it properly, so this is an overview. But how the tartans fit into the story of what happened to the Bonnie Prince.
Yeah, I really, really like your take on it of
Thank you.
showing history of tartan, or showing the history of the 45 through cloth, through the symbolism and through the moments in time that the cloth kind of captures during that whole thing.
I think that's what they are doing with the collection, and it's something that really just appealed to me immediately because I'm one of these guys who, like, if I pick up an antique, I just have a visceral reaction to it sometimes. Especially if I know that it was in a certain theater of war, if it was it was in a certain area at a certain time when certain events took place. It's like this object saw this happen. I mean, and in this case, it's like these are the colors you saw if you were there. If you're walking down, the Royal Mile in Edinburgh, you could possibly see somebody wearing something exactly like this. So it's like it's a glimpse as to just a tiny peek of the colors of and the visuals of that world. So I can really get off on that stuff. So
yeah, and it's neat to have. And I don't think I mentioned yet. House of Edgar is doing this with the help of Peter MacDonald as well. So all the tartans that they are doing is a culmination of years and years and years of his research as well.
Right.
We've already kind of let the cat out of the bag a few months ago. The Culloden tartan, the Culloden coat tartan, is part of this collection.
Right.
That's that is kind of what got us backwards. We kind of backed into the project a little bit ourselves, or helping out with it. in the marketing way that we do, in the minor way that we do, telling the story. But the Culloden coat is another great example. The Culloden tartan is another great example of a tartan that is of period that you could wear as a 1700s noble. It's a tartan that existed back then. So while you can do a current day fashion tartan like Spark or something like that, you can do plenty of universal tartans that exist today. But there's going to be in T-minus 2 weeks and counting 5 or 6 different new tartans that you will be able to incorporate into that kind of impression. And I would really like to see like the Moy Hall plaid or something like that in somebody's impression of somebody from the period. That would actually be pretty cool.
Yep. I think that's it's amazing.
Yeah.
I just love it. I love it. But
we are so excited about it. We're actually toying around with doing all the things that House of Edgar is doing with Peter McDonald is they're trying to make these as historically accurate color-wise as possible. So we kind of took that and said, okay, how can we add to this story? What can we do with this information? How can we do something different, tangential, and also cool? So what we did was we went to our tailor over in Glasgow and said, hey, we'd love to have a recreation. Not just a, hey, make me an 1800s or 1700s jacket. I want a recreation as close as you can get of the Culloden coat. So we have something that we're toying around with, trying to have a recreation of the Culloden coat done in the Culloden tartan to be able to offer that, or in tweed or in all kinds of different fabrics as well. So there's a lot of really, really cool historical type, historical inspired, historically as accurate as possible stuff coming out in the next month, and it has come out with Loch Erin stuff, in the Grant 1714 tartan as well.
Yep.
It's pretty cool seeing more historical stuff being, relit and reignited, almost as the counterbalance to more.
I was going to say, I think
tartans.
it absolutely is the counterbalance to contemporary tartans, and I think there's tartan for its own sake, for its beauty and modern meanings you can put into it, but then there's also that we're all romantics at heart, and we want to feel like we're connected to those roots. So this is such a direct way to do it.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
At the risk of sounding like a QVC presenter. It's this tartan really makes me feel like I'm at home. So anyway.
Yes.
Yep.
I make pillows out of it.
Oh, jeez. It's my Culloden battlefield throw pillow.
With little targe buttons.
Oh, jeez. No.
Claymore tassels.
Oh, it's so wrong.
I know it is. That's fine.
Okay.
All right. Very good. I hope that helps.
Blah, 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 blah. Mac.
Hi, Mac. How you doing?
We're doing good.
How you feeling over there, Mac?
Well, we're doing.
Getting over your cold?
Trying. There has been a lot of talk on the tartan you're wearing there, Rocky.
Ooh, a little bit
Starting
chatter.
off. Yeah.
A little chatter. Okay.
But he's giving a lot of love to begin with.
Thank you very much, boys and girls. We're gonna do a little thing about the tartan in the middle of the show, so stay tuned for that.
All right. So Kathy and Lewis kind of have this very similar questions here, so I am going to lump these two together. Kathy asks, tartans normally being to families, right? How did you come up with tartans such as the Appalachian folklore tartan? And then Lewis Collingwood is asking, when creating a new tartan design for your family, does the colors you choose make a difference on what mill you would get the kilt from?
Or who we'd have weave it, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I kind of, the first question, I won't want to sound harsh and say I reject the premise of the question, but to some degree I reject the premise of the question. The tartans
harsh,
are,
bro.
it is harsh, I apologize. Tartans, are known today, generally speaking, or 20 years ago, are known for the most part as clan tartans. There wasn't a whole lot of, other tartans that were out there. Not a whole lot. There were some, not a ton. Or I guess 30 years ago now. I'm too old. I'm thinking 1995. But it's not just clan tartans. There are plenty of universal tartans, and like the ones we were just talking about with the Culloden coat tartan, with the Moy Hall plaid, with Glen Affric. There's been universal tartans forever. Tartans originally started out as pretty things, pretty ways to weave cloth, make it look good so that it will sell. And that's where it began. That is the origin. That's the genesis of tartan. I'm going to copyright that phrase. Genesis of tartan.
Oh yeah, copyright
I
it.
should do that real quick. I'm not going to copyright it. Don't worry, House of Egger.
Simon, relax.
No, but tartan started off just as pretty patterns that people liked, and then they said, I like that one, that's the one I'm going to wear. And it evolved into clan tartans. And then I would say, in a way, it is... I won't say evolving past clan tartans, because I don't think it's going past. I think it's just another branch on the same tree of evolving into other things, or not even evolving, but tangentially going off and becoming different things. So whether it's the Appalachian folklore tartan, whether it's the Spark tartan, whether it's American Dream, whether it's the County Leash tartan there, it doesn't matter. County Leitrim, excuse me. Or Flower of Scotland or Scottish National, there are a lot of universal tartans that aren't necessarily clan related. Eric.
May I?
Yes.
Hey, Kathy. I would say that, yeah, I mean, we mostly grew up with a sense, in the States at least, of tartan being about clan. That's the perception we were raised with. But universal tartans have been around for a long time. I think they were district tartans were a thing before. The other term for universal tartans would be fashion tartans, and that's just somebody coming up with something just because they think it'll sell. Products made for the Highland dance community was a factor in that also. A lot of time that is variations on dress tartans, as we know. I think what we've gotten into is the sense that right after clan tartans, the most large category is landscape. Isle of Skye comes to mind immediately. It's technically what you would call a universal tartan, but it represents something. And I think we've kind of gotten into our heads that tartan has to have some basis in something symbolic. Whereas, honestly, you really could just design a tartan because I like red, I like yellow. I'm going to make a tartan that's mostly red and yellow. Oh, I like purple too. I'm going to put some of that in there. Oh my God, I recreated the Culloden battlefield tartan. We think there has to be symbolism when there really doesn't. But most of the time what happens is somebody thinks of a thing and they want to have a tartan to commemorate it. So Appalachian folklore was all about the fact that Appalachian culture is heavily rooted in Scottish and Scots-Irish culture, hugely so. So you have a lineage background to it, and then on top of that you have the unique culture that grew there, and the folklore is a big part of that. The storytelling there is incredibly unique. It has such a unique flavor. It is distinctly American. And so somebody thought, well, somebody here in this building thought, wow, it'd be great to try and capture that feel of that culture and the landscape in a tartan. And so the project begins. I think that's what most people I run into now. It's like, there really should be a tartan to represent my favorite breed of dog, or there really should be a tartan to represent this town I grew up in. We don't have to do it that way. There's nothing to stop you from just saying, I like colors. But it's kind of the mentality we're in. We think that there has to be some symbolism. Otherwise, it's not legit. So I'm not saying we hold ourselves back, but I think it's definitely where people come from most of the time.
Yeah, I agree. People absolutely come to it from it's cart before the horse to do it the other way almost.
Yeah.
There's not a plethora of tartan artists who just want to create beautiful tartan art for tartan art's sake. Most people want to start with an idea and a symbol or an event or something that they feel very, very passionate about and they want to commemorate. So I think that's a very astute point you made there.
Unless it's a mill. I mean, if it's a professional operation like a mill who are trying to come up with something that is fashionable in the current age, in the current zeitgeist, so they can sell it, particularly for weddings, then they will think, well, let's go with a theme of like nature, and then you have the Hebridean heather collection or whatever.
Or what colors are popular.
Or what colors are popular right now.
Colors, yeah.
Which we know goes all the way back to the beginning. Like there are Highland Revival tartans that had brown in them because brown was the fashionable color. So that's nothing new. But most of us who are not in the business tend to think of, symbolism first.
Yep.
Sorry if I'm redundant and repeating myself over and over. But,
I agree.
But anyway, so as for thread color, though.
Yes, Mac, what was the second question?
Do the colors influence what mill you
break 'em
use?
into two.
Yep.
Just read it again if you could.
So, okay, for creating new tartan, does the colors you choose make a difference in what mill you get the kilt made from?
Sure. The colors that we choose when we're designing the tartans, I would say yes and no. I would almost start with weight. Is there a particular weight of cloth we want to do? And then if it's 16 ounce, La Karen or Martin Mills are going to have a much bigger thread color palette, let's say, than House of Edgar. If it's 13 ounce, House of Edgar's going to have it hands down. If it's 10 or 11 ounce, I'm going to go back to La Karen. They have a huge collection in their 11 ounce, in their 11 ounce yarns. So I would start with the weight of what I want you almost start at the end. What do you want the finished thing to be, to do, to, products to be available in the thing? And then you work backwards to, okay, if I want, all pipe band kilts, cool. Then I'm going to start with 16 ounce. If I say I want to have men's and women's wear, then I would probably do 13 ounce. If it's just women's wear or whatever, then I might do just 11 ounce. So starting there and then working your way back. We use House of Edgar for several reasons. We do a lot with them because they give us a good price on stuff. They have a huge selection of 13 ounce yarn. We like doing 13 ounce because you can do it for women's and men's wear. It makes good neckties where 16 ounce is a little bit heavy. You can make a kilted skirt out of 13. It's a touch heavy, but not too bad. You can make a kilt out of it. It's a medium weight. It's not too light. It's not too heavy. So it's a great, middle ground to choose from. And the cool thing, not that this is a commercial for House of Edgar, but the cool thing about House of Edgar is that they have such a broad selection of yarns, and they've started to do more and more marled yarns. So it adds another dimension, another layer to the tartan and or to the symbolism. So it really expands the options that we have with color palette and that kind of stuff. Any mill can do custom colors. I can go to Martin Mills and say, hey, I want 6 shades of red in this tartan. This is going to be all red. Give me 6 shades of red. Here's the Pantone colors that I want. Or send me all of your stock reds in 13 ounce. And I say, okay, you only have 3. I want to do 3 more. Boom, boom, boom. Do me these 3 colors. And they can do it. It's just a matter of how much does that add to the cost. And all these things kind of factor into the final product. So I would say House of Edgar has the biggest selection, so that's generally stock selection. So that's generally speaking why we pick them for 13 ounce stuff, or for 13 ounce yarns and 13 ounce fabrics. Yeah,
Yep.
indeed.
It's all very technical.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
pretty. I like it. Yeah,
Yep.
Eric.
What? You want a question?
Sure.
Would
We're
you like
here.
a question,
Might
Rocky?
As well. Might
Okay.
as well. We're
I would
here.
be happy to give you a question.
I got some time to kill.
In fact, this one is from my good friend Andrew Owen.
Good friend. How long have you known Andrew Owen?
About 24 hours. So, Andrew asked us, how does one actually use the little black loops that some kilts have at the top edge, seemingly for hanging?
Sure.
They are quite literally hanging loops. So,
Yeah.
but here's the thing.
Yes. What it's talking about is when you're wearing a kilt, some companies put in essentially on the side, on your left side and on your right side, on the inside of the kilt, 2 little tiny black, what look like shoelaces almost, stuck in between the lining and the actual cloth of the kilt. Those are put in there by the kilt makers for you to be able to hang up your kilt. Now, disclaimer, warning, danger, Will Robinson. You can hang your kilt from those loops. I wouldn't do it for an extended period of time. Now, how do you hang them from the loops? Okay, great question. Glad you asked. Fold the kilt in thirds, and I would say, put the strap through the hole on the left-hand side, and then maybe half buckle the top buckle on the right-hand side. So the kilt is essentially as you would be wearing it. Then you're going to have 1 black loop on the right and 1 black loop on the left. Most hangers, like shirt hanger, jacket hanger kind of things, have a little either notch in the shoulder of the hanger, or they have little hooks that hang down from the shoulder of the hanger. Those loops are meant to go over and either sit in the notch or sit on those hooks. Here's the warning. If you wear your kilt infrequently, once a year, twice a year. Those hanging it from there will cause what's called pleat splay, where the pleats will kind of they're when they're resting in the closet, they kind of go out like this. The kilt is meant to sit, flat. The pleats are meant to sit flat on your backside and straight down. And when they're just hanging from two single individual points on the sides, it kind of the top of the kilt does this, and the bottom of the kilt just kind of spreads out like that. And in resting in that position for an extended period of time, not like 24 hours, 48 hours, that kind of thing, but for a year at a time, or 2 years at a time, it's going to kind of not screw up, but it's kind of make the pleats want to be like bleh, and just kind of rest weird. So when you put it on next, it's not going to look its best. It's not going to look crisp. It's going to kind of have a little bit of a stage curtain-y kind of waffly effect on the back. So I say if you're going to a public restroom, and you got to sit down. We'll put it that way for men, and you want to take your kilt off and do it that way. Those loops are great to hang your kilt on the back of the door. You hang your sporran up and hang your kilt up from those loops. That is fine. If you're going to hang it for an extended period of time, don't hang it from the loops. Get a proper kilt hanger, or fold it in thirds and then half again and lay it flat in a cedar drawer or something like that. That would be my suggestions.
What if you've been at a festival all day, marching around in the sun, getting super hot, super duper sweaty, your kilt is soaked with sweat, and the only option you have back at the motel is to hang it by those loops on a hanger in front of the air conditioner? Is that going to cause like instant pleat splay, or would you get away with it? Would it be a good way to ventilate the kilt after a hot, sweaty day, or is that a bad idea?
I don't think I would do it, because if
wouldn't either, actually.
the kilt is wet and it's damp and you're trying to force it dry, it's going to dry in that position. So I probably wouldn't. I would just basically if you're going to do that, then I would maybe, if they have pants hangers in the hotel and you don't have your kilt hanger, you just have pants hangers, I may put like 4 pants hangers across the entire top of the kilt and hang them on the top of the curtain rod or something like that, maybe. Or
even 2, I think you'd get away with it okay, but yeah.
Yeah, or I would just
3.
basically lay the kilt out all the way flat and drape it over the back of the chair and just kind of let it dry naturally. I wouldn't necessarily force air onto it. I would just let the air in the room kind of dry it off.
I feel like the loops are outmoded.
Yeah.
I don't know when they started putting them in, but I don't know if it was a military function or anything at some point. But it just doesn't seem that great to me.
I agree. And I would also say when I had them in my kilt, I'll cut them out. It's from an aspect of they always seem to pop out at the sides. Then you're left a little. If you're wearing a black shirt, it doesn't look as weird, but they're just popping out on the sides of your body, and it's just like, oh, what the hell with this thing?
Attach your carabiner with your keys to it,
But if you never use it, just cut them off. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Cheers. Hope that helps, Mr. Mack.
All right. So we have Daniel asking, how well do poly kilts hold up traveling in a duffel bag?
Poly, not acrylic, but
Polyester, polyviscose.
Polyviscose. So
our stuff.
It just says poly, so I'm assuming he's meaning like her PV.
Talk about what we know. So
Yeah. So we're assuming for purpose of the question that you're talking about polyviscose fabric, which is our not proprietary, but our fabric for our casual and our semi-traditional kilt. How well do you take care of your kilt, and how is it in the duffel bag? Is it is it like a fade away shot? You're gonna just jump and throw it at the bag across the room? Have you when I go traveling, I typically don't hang my kilt and have a hang bag that I bring with me. I usually, if I'm like when I went to to Germany this past summer, I have a carry-on and I have my regular suitcase. I'll put it in the carry-on because it's an expensive item to lose. Now, how I will put it in a carry-on is I fold it in thirds like I'd be wearing the kilt.
Yep.
Then I fold it in half again so that the pleats are on the inside, and I'm basically folding straight down the center of the front apron.
Yep.
And then I hit it in the center and fold it over. So it's essentially a square that big, 12 by 12 or something like that. That's about the size, and then I just neatly put it in there. But it's all in making sure that you are
making sure all the pleats are just so before you fold
Before you
it.
play then.
Yep. Garbage in, garbage out, as they say. So if you just rumple it up in a ball and shove it into a duffel bag, it's going to look horrible when it comes out. If you fold it neatly and put it in the duffel bag, and especially if you're packing other things in the duffel bag and it's not just like flopping around in there like waving an inflatable arm tube man, then it'll be fine when it comes out. You might have a little bit of a crease across the center of the pleats where you folded it, but just wearing it or either wearing it will probably drop the creases out, or quick travel tip as well, go into your bathroom at the hotel. 90% of the time, they don't have an air circulation fan. So go in there, turn the shower on high, and let your kilt hang in there for 20 minutes. Keep the door closed. By the time you open it, it's a freaking sauna steam room coming out at you. And most of the creases will have dropped out of the kilt. Eric.
I have a slightly longer duffel bag, so I will honestly, I'll do the fold in thirds as I were putting on a kilt hanger, and then I will, I'll probably fold it in half, but I sometimes can actually just do a very gentle roll, and I put it in lengthwise on top of everything else in the duffel. Like I pack the duffel, and the kilt is the last thing to go in, so it is on the very top, and I just put it in there lengthwise because with my kilt it fits in the size duffel I have, and just laid across the top of everything else. So, and I've never had a problem.
Nice.
Even with the PV ones. But yeah, I mean, if you have to fold it. But I think there's a lot to be said for don't like really fold it up, but just keep it loose, just shaped as vaguely as possible into the size you need, and put it on top. Don't have anything on top of it in the bag. It's my 2 cents.
Yeah, and generally speaking, PV holds up extremely well, and it's the heat and pressure that makes the creases really stick into something. That's why a steam iron is a steam iron, and you're pressing on it. But for the most part, you should be fine, especially for shorter trips. Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about it. Cool.
Dun 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 dun.
Ice baby. Or are you doing under pressure? Okay, under pressure. I got it.
Keeps your kilt
It was one of the two.
straight, and it's really great, especially if it's wool with some pressure. Okay.
Let's do the question of the day. Let's do that one first.
Already? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeet, backing up. Okay. Colton Cunningham pointed out that since Christmas is now over, and some people might just have some cash or gift cards hanging around, burning a hole in the pocket, he asks, if you had $100 to upgrade your kit, what would you use it on? What would you just blow $100 on for fun, for funsies, for your kilt kit?
Kilt kit specifically. All right.
Yeah.
So, and we can expand it. I would say this. We can expand it if we want to. Let's do this. We'll do $100. It's $100 or less. What we get, and I'll bring Mac in for this as well, and then we can do or second round one item that you can do, because if it's a new sport or something like that, it's over $100.
Yeah,
So for me, first thing would be for under $100, I'd say I'd get a nice pair of kilt hose and probably a pair of garter ties, and a little bit of an. Did I steal your answer? Sorry about that. I would get something, a different color I wouldn't normally have, or something just, a little bit nicer than I maybe used to, and a pair of garter ties to add some depth and some versatility to the closet, to the range. I'll let you think about one for a sec since I stole yours. Mac, what would you get?
I was going, because $100 isn't necessarily going to get you very far.
it's a weird amount.
It is
in our world.
Like maybe buckle, kilt pin, like there's only so many accessories you can go.
I just took my runner up. Now I don't have anything.
Like that'd be the next spot I'd head.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
A new belt. There you go.
I'd buy 50 cups of coffee. Yeah. Yeah. No, I was gonna say if it was exactly 100, I would get like 2 pairs of Lewis hose and 1 set of garter ties or something like that, or
Lewis hose are more than $50.
whatever. And then, or if it were, again, a buckle and a kilt pin would be good.
Yeah.
But just little bits of bling is kind of where my head
Because
goes.
even headwear isn't always necessarily.
Yeah.
Yeah,
depending
you
what-
could get a
what
flat
you-
cap. or
but
something.
going something other than that, you're.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
if I haven't had a good feather bonnet in a long time,
Well,
that's,
hey, that
can't
that
get those
ups
for
that
100
ups your
bucks.
game there.
It does. It does.
Feather bonnets are ungodly expensive.
They
Jeez.
are.
Oh, man.
They're
All right.
hard to breed.
Mac. They have to like this whole cage thing inside. It's a very, very
Oh, I know,
intricate
I know.
process. I get
I know.
why, but they're just crazy.
Then you gotta feed them.
Yeah.
All right. One item for your personal kit that you're just like, I'd really like this. We're not going to say kilt. Anything else?
Anything but a
Anything
kilt.
but kilt.
So not a tartan thingamabob.
And no, money is not an option at this point.
Not an object, correct?
Not an
yeah.
object.
Whatever.
For me, money is not an option.
Exactly. Hooray, inflation.
Maybe another jacket.
Okay.
Like maybe another jacket and vest with different options.
Okay.
Like maybe we're doing lapels. Maybe we're taking epaulets off. Maybe we're doing more of a Wallace, the old Wallace jacket style with the no
Okay.
fancy, more contemporary version of a
Okay.
jacket.
Okay.
Okay.
Not bad. Not a bad one. Not a bad one. Eric,
Now,
do you have any
but I mean, he just said no limit, right? This is just blue skying, right?
white whale? One item
Okay. One item.
that you really want to improve your own kit.
I'm going totally off the res for this one. I would get.
I'm preemptively holding my eyes.
Okay. Why? You have so little faith in me. Anyway, I would get a antique 19th century sporran and have it rebagged goat hair. So kind of like our Abbotsford design, but basically, beautiful, intricate metal cantle and the interlocking blockchain chain, and then, just have it rebagged by Greg, super perfect, and then frickin' goat hair. That's what I would do.
Damn, it's good.
I know.
Yeah. You
And I'd wear it every day with a t-shirt. No, sir, I would love to have something like that. I would absolutely love that set. or a 19th century hunting dirk set. I probably
Okay.
wouldn't wear it, but
just to own.
oh god, I'd love to have one.
Yeah.
A good one.
I didn't think about the antique thing. You triggered something in me. Eric.
Where I live.
I feel sad now.
I'm
There.
disappointed in myself. I didn't go that route.
Yeah. The
You mean I won something?
the it wouldn't be feeling sad.
It's the best kind of victory. Crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentation of their women.
There was a sporran. I hope we still have the image of this somewhere because I want to put this in the edited version of this clip. Had an antique sporran. It went up for auction years ago, and it was a brown hunting sporran with a metal cantle. Had like acorns on it and had
Yes.
oak leaves and had 5 tassel, not like long tassels with little tiny oak leaf or oak acorn embellishments on it.
Yeah.
Oh man, and it has like 1 acorn missing. And I think somebody bought it and then restored it.
Really?
Yeah. They used a very small sporran maker in Scotland because I was looking for the pictures for it a while ago, and I was like, oh, that's that sporran. Yeah.
Wasn't House of LeBron, was it?
No. It was an actual antique sporran.
No, I mean they do restorations also though.
Correct, but no, it wasn't them. It
Okay.
was the one that does. They do a lot of like really, really avant-garde sporrans, which surprised me that
Okay.
somebody went to them to have it restored. But yeah, that sporran, that is my white whale. Is that frickin' sporran? It is beautiful. It is cool. It is old timey. It has the oak leaf thing, so I feel like it's a little bit of my German heritage in there somehow.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the one. That's the one I want. Can't have it.
Sorry.
I don't have enough money to buy one or make it exist. So
Yep. Oh well.
I'm gonna go cry in the corner now. It's the end of the show.
You started this game. So, it is what it is.
Okay.
All right.
Guys. So, not trying to make you guys sad, but here's the question of the day. If you had an extra $100 burning a hole in your pocket, or you could pick one item to improve your kit, what would you want to improve your kit? Let us know in the comments. This is the question of the day. Mac's going to collect the answers, and we're going to go back towards the end of the show and talk about that one
I'd say
again.
get specific with it. I mean, because you could just say, "Oh, belt buckle," but I want to know what belt buckle.
Yeah, which belt buckle,
Yeah.
which sporin, which exact thing
Yeah.
do you want? Is there a particular tweed? Let
Yep.
us know.
What is your USS flag? No, that's different.
The white whale.
Wasn't that the ship of the aircraft carrier in G.I. Joe? The flag?
Oh. Trying to make me sad again?
Yeah, the
big
toy
battleship?
that everybody wanted.
Yes,
the
and-
aircraft carrier.
Yes. I have a meme that I share around Christmas each year, celebrating the, 43rd anniversary of the date I didn't get
Yep.
the G.I. Joe battleship for Christmas. Yes.
God.
Here you go, Mom. Thanks, Mom. Yeah. I don't know many kids that got it. May
Not
only know
many.
one.
No, only a few kids ever got
Yeah.
them. And we hate them.
Yes, exactly. Spoiled brats.
Rats.
Yeah. But let us know yours.
Okay.
And why is it a G.I. Joe toy? All right, Mac.
G.I. Joe belt buckle.
We'll
Kilt-
do
Kilt belt
one more from you
One more from
before
me.
the mid-section of the show.
All right. We have Richard asking, what are the optimal care tips for a seal skin sporn?
Don't
Give it
screw
to
it
me.
up. I'd say there's no. I don't have any super optimal care tips.
I don't think there's anything special of it
yeah.
compared to other furs, but
Yeah, I would say make sure it's not. You don't ride it hard and put it away wet. Basically you want to take care of it. If you get a little bit of schmutz on it, make sure you're wiping it off quickly and immediately. That said, seal is a very, very hard wearing fur.
Right.
That's the reason that they used it. And outside of the beauty, outside of the sheen, outside of the short hair nature of it, outside of the water repellentness of it, there's a lot of reasons why, outside of the abundance of the animal at the time, there's a lot of reasons why sporins were made from seal versus like rabbit. Rabbit fur, even the best, treated rabbit fur, even the best taxidermied rabbit fur is still tan. Thank you. I forgot the word. Even the best tan rabbit fur will over time start shedding more than seal. If you look at old sealskin sporins, usually what you see is the first place that they start to show signs of wear are the sides. If you have seal on the gusset, which is the side of the sporin, the leather that opens and closes and allows it to go in and out. That is where you see the wear on the sporins, is where essentially where it is actually sitting and rubbing against your leg as you're sitting down in it.
Right. Well, it's under stress too because it's been bent around in the shape. So
Yes.
Yeah.
That as well. So as long as you're storing it in a cool, dry place, as long as you're not abusing it, as long as you're wiping it off if something gets spilled on it, it should be a very, very long-lasting sporn. So
yeah, I think the question would be whether it's a new one, like one of the very few that's legal to get, that's new, or is it an antique? Is the rest of the leather drying out? Do you have other problems you have to deal with? If it's especially because it's an antique.
Yeah.
That'd be the differentiating factor, I think.
Here's my disclaimer: we are not leather and tannery experts, so
Right.
don't listen to us. I would check with a taxidermist or a leather or tannery or something like that to try to find out if there's something specific you should or shouldn't be doing. If it were me and I didn't mind if it got a little screwed up, maybe I'd say if it wasn't like a sentimental thing, if I found an old sporn at a thrift shop but it just looked a little bit worse for wear and I wanted to just spend a couple bucks to spruce it up, maybe. I'd probably buy leather conditioner or leather honey and make sure that the leather itself isn't dried out too badly, and kind of try to reinvigorate the red leather, the back panel, the inside, front, inside, back, and the gusset. I wouldn't go crazy on the fur itself necessarily,
No.
but all of the leather bits, I would definitely hit with some leather conditioner just to give it a little bit more luster, a little bit more life and pliability,
Yep.
so it didn't crack. Yeah, that's my thought.
Yep.
Cool. All right, since we are at the midpoint of the show, I think it's time
We're a little
to
early, but okay.
5 minutes. Oh, it's fine.
What's time?
Yeah, it's 4. Treat our lovely viewers
Okay.
with a visual cacophony, a hornoplenty of a beautiful new tartan called Spark. All great ideas start with a single moment, a spark of inspiration. It's that instant when the painter finds their muse, the inventor hits on the solution, the musician writes the perfect hook. It's the courage to start your journey, the moment that you're compelled to action. Joining the gym, crushing your last pack of cigarettes, walking into your first therapy session. It's the illumination of new beginnings, popping the question to the love of your life, holding your newborn child for the first time, staring into an unknown future and confidently saying, I've got this. That's the feeling of clarity that we're capturing with the Spark tartan. It's that split second when the lights go on, the moment where your idea grows from a dim glow to a concept as bright as the sun. It's that millisecond where the wave of realization washes over you that you're onto something. You're compelled to act now. That is the spark of inspiration. In this tartan, we chose to use a gradient effect to give a sense of movement to the cloth, even when it's lying still. This tartan represents motion, action, and forward progress. You'll notice it has 2 layers of gradient, the flash of light and the elimination of shadows. The spark itself is the center white stripe. As you travel out, the center white gives way to a bright gold and then a dark gold. This is the idea expanding, giving you purpose and calling you to act. Next, we have the gradient from solid black to marled grays. This represents questions being answered, your doubt fading, and your confidence growing. America is built on innovation, and it starts with our people. In our own lives, we each have moments of creativity, clarity, and conviction. And in those moments, before any negativity creeps in, before the what-ifs get to you, there's something that we all need. Hope, purpose, a clear path forward. And it all starts with a spark.
Showed right there. Can I get that?
Of course. So I hope you guys enjoy our brand new Spark tartan. We're doing this one essentially now. It's already started. January 1st is when we started Spark. We're running this one through the end of January 2025. So if you want in on the Spark tartan, if you enjoy being creative, if you love that moment, that aha, that I need to get it done, that drive, and this tartan speaks to you, step on up.
If you just think it's a freaking badass tartan.
If you happen to be a fan of the Boston Bruins or the Pittsburgh Penguins or
Yeah,
Steelers,
or the
or any
Steelers.
other
Yep.
golden team,
Yep.
or the Golden Knights, I won't hold it against you if you buy the tartan. So, yep, that's our Spark tartan down there.
Da-da-da.
Yeah, it's one that, as I said before, it has a little bit of special meaning to me. This is one that I did with my son, and we came up with the idea of just this explosion and the way to kind of translate that into the actual tartan itself. So I'm pretty pleased with how that one came out. And again, it's playing around with Liam on my computer at the office.
Yeah. It's
Love
it's a gorgeous contemporary design. Absolutely love it for that. Which is why I said when we unboxed it.
Allie is very excited about it.
Along those, yeah, that was hysterical.
And that, if you guys seen the video of Allie getting excited about the Spark tartan when it arrived, she saw it when we were designing it. She was like, "Oh, I need this! I need this! I need this!"
It's funny because she's not like hyping up or anything either. This is how she actually is.
Yeah.
That's how she normally is. She's a knuckle nut. Anyway, speaking of Spark, though, this reminds me of a question. Jeff Plavier said, with the American 250 line, once each tartan is rolled out, can you give a rough guess as to how long each design will be supported, a minimum? As I likely won't be able to buy them all, having a rough guess helps to plan a strategy to target those I feel I must have.
Not with that attitude. Come on now, Jeff.
So yeah, what is...
Sure. Here's the the brass tacks of it. My thinking on it has evolved a touch over the last few months. So the original plan was we do a pre-order, and then on any of the pre-orders, what we end up doing is we say, okay, something might happen at the mill that some of the cloth gets damaged, or there may be a few stragglers who want to get the tartan or the kilt after the pre-order closes, kind of thing. So if we need 100 meters of cloth, we may order 120, 125 meters just to pad it out a little bit, give a few extra people. We'll figure we'll eventually sell it. For the America 250 collection, that's how we started. And with EPU, we ordered enough for the kilts plus 20-25%, and it kind of we sold out of it. As soon as the cloth landed, we had a little bit left over, and we quickly sold through those. And I was like, cool. And then we kept getting orders, not like a deluge, but it did just kind of ticking along. Every week, every other week, like get one more 5-yarder, or get one more 8-yarder, or get a maxi kilt in it. So it was one of those just like, we need to do a little bit more of this, and I didn't want to go too crazy and have too much outlay, or go cut it too short. I think I cut it a little bit short. So we ended up ordering another 55 or 60 meters of the EPU, the E Pluribus tartan. So for the other ones, kind of since then, I'm taking a little bit longer view on it. I've gotten some feedback from people who've said, look, I think I want this one, but I also want to look at this one, which is like 3 tartans later. So, are you still going to have this one in case I don't like that one? So I'm trying to hedge it a little bit and walk this weird balancing act line, high wire act, if you will, between ordering too much cloth that's just going to sit there forever because all the people who want it already got it, versus not having enough cloth for the number of people who want the thing. So it's kind of the high wire act we're walking. I'm cautiously optimistic and ordering a little bit more, like an extra 50% on top of whatever the order calls for. So that's where we are now. I can't give you a date of how long we are going to have a thing, because if it's, I'll put it this way. So if Grand Canyon, we sell out of that one, and it took, if I ordered an extra 100 meters of it, and it takes, 2 years to sell out of 100 meters, I'm not going to reorder it after the end of the 2 years. If it takes, 6 weeks to sell out of an extra 100 meters, I'm going to reorder it right away. If it's keeping going, if the momentum is there, I'll keep moving it. Essentially, as long as people en masse are still looking for the thing. How do I gauge that? Lick your finger and stick it in the air to kind of take the temperature and test the winds. But outside of that, it's kind of a little bit of a guessing game. So we're doing our best. We're trying to hold it for the people that want it, and over order so that people who actually want it, even if they can't afford it, they have to save up a little bit to get it, have an ability to do that. But we can't hold it forever. Unless it sells forever, then we'll sell it forever. So that's the kind of short answer on it. So, or kind of long answer. I don't know. Yeah. It's an in-between answer. There you go.
We're not going to keep you in the dark about it.
Yeah.
There's that.
And if you have questions, just ask and say, hey, can you tell me about how much Grand Canyon tartan you have left? And, one of the people downstairs will email Mac and say, hey, can you give me an eyeball on about how much you have left and how long do you think we're going to have it-ish? If there's 6 meters left, we'll tell you.
Yep.
6 meters. Next one takes it. Or if there's an extra 100 meters, Mac will say, hey, we got it for a while. Don't worry about it. So, cool. Sorry, Mac. I'm giving you a job now.
I'm just going to say 4 meters every time. So
Yes.
it just
Keep
we
ordering.
only have 4 meters left. You got to get this in today.
I need 2 kilts. Oh, I just found another 4. We have 8 meters left.
You will not believe how lucky you are.
No, we're not that shisty.
I was behind the mummy of William Wallace all along. Oh, man.
Any other thoughts, questions, comments about the Spark Tartan out there, man?
Spark, not necessarily, but there is. I mean, everyone is saying how they do feel this is the best designed one out of the collection so far. There's been quite a few of those
Wow.
comments. So there's definitely a high praise in the design on this one.
Golly.
We do have a lot of people asking about tweed, one of these being tweed or one of these being PV. I know we've talked about PV before.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you want to touch on those again.
Yeah, Spark is one that I'm toying around with doing in PV from an aspect of we're discontinuing the sterling yellow tartan. So this one could kind of fill serve a double duty there, fill a little bit of a gap. So maybe Spark. This is the one that I'm probably the most optimistic about doing in PV. So we'll see how the sales go in wool. And tweed, the tweed's going to be maybe a little tricky for the America 250 collection. So I'm backpedaling a little bit on the thoughts of tweed. I'm not sure. The one that I wanted to potentially do in tweed was Leave No Trace, and I'm kind of yeah, I know. I'm backing off a little bit and thinking that one might have to end up being wool as well, just regular wool, not tweed wool. So, yeah, Matt, can you think of any that you're just like, that would be awesome in tweed?
Potentially the American Worker, depending on how you do that one. Potentially.
You're looking ahead, not just ones we've already done.
Yeah, looking ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Potentially, like I already have an idea, kind of an idea loosely of what you'd said about the color palette for that one. So potentially that one.
The funny thing is, like, Spark could actually work for American
Oh,
Worker
yeah.
as well, or something. Yeah,
Yeah, along those lines. Yeah.
yeah. Trying to come up with different ideas for these that it's like, oh, that one it feels so much like that one. That's the trick.
And this is such a weird concept, though, to base it on. I mean, we start off with like the spirit of invention. We're thinking like everybody from Thomas Edison to Steve Jobs or something like that, like innovation because it's a big time American thing, and then it morphed.
Yeah, it grew.
Because it's not just inventors,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
just
artists. It's that.
Yeah.
What we're trying to capture is literally that moment where you're thinking about a thing, a problem, an issue, you're trying to come up with a solution to a thing, or you're trying to be inspired to do something. What do I want to paint, or what do I want to draw, or you're trying to play around on the piano, whatever it is, and it's that split second, and everyone has had it. Everyone has experienced this, where you just like, that's it.
Eureka.
It's when your eyes bug out of your head and you're like, that's it. I got it. I know what I got to do. This is the moment, and it lasts for that split second, and that is what we were trying to capture in this. We went from the eons of evolution in the Grand Canyon and the length of time,
Right.
the Pacific Northwest, and all that kind of stuff, and now we're going, making a tartan that's literally happens in a split second. This represents a light bulb going off before the light hits the wall in the room. So.
I think it speaks to American optimism too, though. I mean, it's kind of, this is the land of innovation. It's the land of thinking in terms of like things being a blank slate, not being held down by hundreds or thousands of years of tradition or land ownership or anything like
or
that. It's just
restrictions, governmental
like,
restrictions.
It's part of that. It's part of that American dream thing a little bit. It's just like
get out of my way and let me do my thing. I got the answer. I need to go.
New.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Forward thinking.
Yes.
I think E Pluribus Unum could be interesting in tweed.
Re-release.
Yeah.
2020, 2020,
Why not?
late 2026. We're not even into it yet.
I mean, the other thing is like looking at these, you're going through them and just trying to design these that are they're not all the same. It's not the same cut and paste thing, just with a couple colors switched around.
Yeah.
I mean, you see that in a lot of other mills doing the same thing right now,
Yeah.
where they're coming up with new collections, new designs, but it's the same pattern. Just
Practically the
now
same.
these colors are different.
Yep.
So we're changing
Clan
all new
tartan, you
tartans.
just change the colors. Yeah.
Or the like there's a rental company in Scotland who took House of Edgar's Hebridean and Heather, the one with the claret color in it, and they went to House of Edgar and said, hey, we love this tartan so much, we want to do a range of colors in this, and that's going to be our rental fleet. So you have to order it. Like House of Edgar got in a contract with them to be able to just hold that one. And then there's also the Pride collection from McCall's. Like there's different companies that a lot of times they just say, here's our set. Now we're going to play with the colors and do this in autumn and this spring and this ancient and this modern, and then they just kind of play around with the color palettes within a specific set, which I guess mills have been doing for years with ancient modern versions of clan
That was the
tartans
whole
as well.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, we are really, really, really trying to make them not look like anything else that exists. It's difficult because there's only so many colors in the rainbow. There's only so many different ways to crisscross lines to make something different compared to the 12,000 tartans or whatever it is that are out there. But it's a fun challenge. I'm enjoying doing it.
Now that is black in that tartan. It is not navy, correct?
Correct. Yep. This is
That's been a question on here a few times as well.
Here's the funny thing that actually happened at the Kilts party yesterday, the pop-up shop down in the store. The colors in this tartan are 3 shades of marled gray, black, 2 shades of gold, and a white, and a Dijon, a yellow, and a white. And somebody's and when we were doing the photography, I know Adam and Patrick are having a little bit of an issue with photography. It's like the gray almost has like a bluish kind of hint to it. It has a tiny bit of bluish in it, and I was just like, it feels kind of gray. And then somebody was there was 2 comments I saw, someone comparing it to the North Sea oil tartan, and I was just like, I didn't even know North Sea oil existed when I was designing it. And somebody wore the North Sea oil tartan to the party, and I held this up next to that tartan, and I'm like, oh, mine is not blue gray at all. It's gray. There was the gray in that one was like crazy amount of bluish gray in it.
Okay.
So yeah, it's definitely a gray, 100%. No one can change my mind anymore.
Gray.
And it's also very different from anything I've seen, including North Sea oil. Cool.
The thing I wanted to bring up was Frank said he's really impressed with the America 250 videos. And he's like, did y'all produce these in-house, or did you get a creative agency? So you guys are doing...
The creative agency of Patrick and Adam.
Yep. We're just going to move Mac's camera over here to you.
Yeah.
Exactly. We'll tilt the camera this way. Yes, they're running the soundboard and the computer over there right now. So yes, kudos to the
There's
team.
a lot of work that goes into those commercials, though. Honestly, it's very, very persnickety.
Yes.
It's
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of time investment. But
Yep. And it's persnickety's the right word.
we're happy you noticed.
Yes.
Seriously.
Thank you.
Shall I move on now?
Yes. Sure.
Yes. Okay. Well, then, in that case, Steve Sanders, who I have not heard from in a long time, says, in your opinions, what are the worst kilt-wearing mistakes? That's a classic.
All right.
All right. Are you ready?
Kilt faux pas.
Buckle up.
All right, let's do this. Mac, do you want to jump in for this as well? Would you
Sorry,
like-
I was catching up on comments.
Worst kilt mistakes ever.
Kilt mistakes.
Yes.
Disclaimer. If it turns out that something you have ever done one of these mistakes, we don't hold it against you.
Yes.
9 times out of 10, these are things that people do just because they're new.
Yeah. So
And they are worthy and deserving of some gentle correction.
gentle.
If you've been told it's wrong and you keep doing it, then that's another matter.
Yes. Learn. Do better. Do better.
do
All right. Worst kilt mistakes that people make. I'll say newbies, just to give people the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
All right. Top of the list, by a long shot,
Has to be.
wearing the kilt backwards. Pleats go in the back, not the front. So, if you're wearing kilt, pleats go in the back. All right. Second, let's go around. We'll go round robin. Mac.
I was going to say the basting stitches.
Yep.
Yep, that's definitely
Yep.
second, I think.
When you leave the basting stitches in the back of the kilt, if you get an 8-yard kilt and you see a little white thread running at the bottom, and then usually either 2 or 3 lines that are holding the pleats together. Not every kilt has that, but some come that way for travel. When you generally see it is like Highland Games, where somebody went to a booth selling, the acrylic kilts kind of thing, and they have basting stitches in there, and you know that there's basting stitches in when somebody's walking, and the whole kilt is kind of looks rigid, and it's like moving around them like a cone, and it's hugging them like a skirt, like a pencil skirt.
Yeah, it's like you're wearing a coffee filter.
Yes, if the pleats aren't flipping and flopping as you walk, then swishing, yes, and flipping and flopping. And bipping and bopping. If the pleats aren't moving, you probably have the basting stitches in. Those should be taken out carefully. Just make sure you don't cut the pleats before you're.
Yeah, it's not usually a strong thread, so it's not hard.
Yeah.
To pull them out. But yeah,
Eric.
people don't know. I'd say third up has to be, for me at least, is wearing it too low. Like you think you're going to wear it down, wear on your hips where you wear a pair of jeans, and you don't understand to put it up at your navel, and then you see people walking around looking like a dust mop. It's like torso and kilt down here, and it's below their knees.
Yeah, a lot of newbies don't understand that a kilt is worn above the belly button, so you wear it up higher, which will pull up the bottom edge, or they've gotten an off the peg kilt, again a cheap kilt that is a set length that wasn't made for them,
right?
And then. Let's say they're 5'6" and they got a 24-inch length, and even when they wear it up high, it's still below the knee. That's why kilts, generally speaking, are tailor-made for you, so it'll fit you properly and you form properly. Okay, we'll do one more round for each of us. My bugaboo is wearing a dress sporran casually. So. You go to a Highland Games, go to a festival, and you see somebody wearing a T-shirt, pair of Crocs, an acrylic kilt. I said Crocs on purpose, and a white rabbit fur dress sporran. Yeah. Just in all its white rabbit fur glory. No, dress sporrans are called dress sporrans because they're worn for dress, for formal events. So, do not wear a dress sporran with your kilt and Crocs and a T-shirt casually. It is supposed to be worn for formal. And these are generally like newbie-ish kind of mistakes. And
We've said that.
And here's the disclaimer, especially for the members of the diaspora and the Americans. We generally speaking don't grow up with this stuff. We have to learn these things and learn the rules and the nuances and little hints and tips and tricks through YouTube videos, through talking to different people, and through experiencing it. You don't generally start off with, well, my granddad taught me every single thing I know about kilts since I was age 2, so I'm perfect at wearing it. You've all got to start somewhere. So being a sincere student of the culture, understanding when, why, and how you wear particular things is important, and understanding that a solid leather dress sporran is what you wear during the day and casual events, and this is a day sporran, and a dress day sporran, excuse me, and a dress sporran, the oval shape fur with a metal rim on the top, the cantle, that is what you wear for formal events. It's kind of like wearing, wingtips and a pair of cut-off shorts. It just. What are you doing? It doesn't work. It's not what it's supposed to be. It's like wearing tuxedo tails with a pair of ripped jeans. It
saddle shoes with the
properly.
Daisy Dukes. I mean, come on.
Exactly. Who does
does
a pair
that?
Of Daisy Dukes, though?
Yeah.
I look great in Daisy Dukes. Little pockets sticking out there.
Ugh.
All right. Mac, what's your second?
So we are moving on to things other than the kilt itself then.
Or kilt
To the outfit.
mistakes.
Okay, so
Outfit
Highland
mistakes.
wear,
Highland
Highland
wear
dress.
mistakes, yes.
I was going to say garters over top of the hose.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes. Isn't there a picture of Snoop Dogg when he has his
Yeah, I
flashes
think
on?
so, yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody told him how to put them on, so he just had the hose pulled all the way up, and you
Yeah,
see
we see it at festivals.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I can think of a few, but I'm going to go for the most egregious and most ridiculous one, in my opinion, which has always bugged me, and that is wearing a fly plate with anything other than a proper Highland jacket with epaulettes, because it's supposed to go through an epaulette. And if you are pinning it to a Highland shirt, if you are pinning it to anything, honestly, that's the one
Outside
that
of a
really
jacket,
bugs the
yeah.
heck out of me. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fly blades are only worn for formal. Period. You don't have to wear them to be formal, but that's the only time you wear them. A lot of guys, when they spend all this money on their kit, especially when they're buying from a vendor that is prioritizing the sale over the knowledge and the understanding of the customer. When they're saying, hey, okay, you're going to buy a full kilt package. Here's your Highland shirt. Here's your kilt. Here's your sporran. Here's your cream hose. Here's your Crocs that look like sandals. Here's your fly plate. Here's your kit. Like, here's all the stuff. Thanks. And they don't tell you what to do or how to do it. A lot of guys just don't understand. So you need to understand that, no, you don't wear the fly plate except for formal. Just because it exists, just because you own it, doesn't mean you have to wear it all the time.
I think it's more often that people buy them because they're trying to do an outfit for a Ren Fair or something. They want to look like a Highlander, and they're not connecting the fact that a fly plate, while it's supposed to be reminiscent of great kilt, was never meant to be a great kilt. But they're thinking, oh, well, this is easier to wear, or this is what it'll look like in the movies, so I'm going to put this fly plate on and pin it to my shirt, because obviously that's how he's wearing that great kilt in Outlander, right? You know, I mean, so they're trying to do it to be costumey. You know, they're trying and they don't understand that it's a survival that was meant for formal occasions. You know? It's,
Or
they don't know what it is. Nobody told them what it is. So they think it looks close enough to the movies. So I think that's how that happens. But that drives me up a wall.
Or they own it and they figure,
I got it. I may as well use it.
I have it. I've only worn this for my wedding, so I'm going to go to the Ren Fair. I might as well wear this as part of my outfit today. It's like, yeah, but you don't. You get it for the wedding, but you don't do that with that. And
Right. So that was round 2.
yeah, that was round 2.
Are gill leaders still a thing, or did they go away?
They're still out there.
Are they still out there?
I don't know if anybody sells them. I mean, really,
I don't know if they still were.
I don't know. I haven't seen them for a while.
Gillators?
Yeah, gillators
Yeah, maybe
were
they're not.
essentially the PU material that Crocs are made from. They made into a pair of ghillie brogues. I remember
Stupid.
we were sent a sample of
Yeah.
them, and I literally like, okay, well, let me just at least try it on, and I pulled the laces to tighten it, and it busted out of the shoe, and then they started. They tweaked the recipe, so to speak, for the laces to put them on slightly differently, so it didn't happen as much. But there's like a disclaimer in the box, like, do not tighten your laces too much; you'll rip your shoes. Like, then the
Stupid.
design's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay.
So we're not doing round 3. Is that enough pain? And does anyone in the comments have any pet peeves of their own
Yeah.
other than what we mentioned?
Go back to the comments here.
And if you don't have one, or if you didn't write one now.
Quickly, hurry
Yes,
up.
I'm very curious to know.
They're like, poor Rocky and his Crocs.
Right?
Purses of Sporn.
Yes.
That was going to be my third one. That was
good
the
one.
next one I had
It's a
loaded.
good one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Walmart flannel as a great kilt.
Yeah, wearing a non-sporran item as a sporran. We'll put it that way. So for me, it's wearing a bum bag, or just for you people in the UK, I will say a fanny pack. So wearing a bum bag or fanny pack as a sporran, or wearing my mom's old sequined thing fits around my waist. I'll just wear that as a sporran. Like, no, that's no.
Yeah.
You're crossing over from wanting to be in on the party and express your heritage into caricature and what is close enough and Halloween costume kind of territory.
Some of this stuff is costume. I need something to wear for the Ren Fair or the Celtic Festival that's tomorrow. What can I get at the Goodwill?
Yeah.
Some of that. Anything else?
Kilt pin on left side.
Oh, I don't see that too often, but yes, I have seen that one. I have seen that one. Yep.
Bright white hose.
Yep.
And this may hurt David Barr's feelings.
Uh-oh.
A cowboy
Cowboy
hat.
hat.
Oh, cowboy hat.
Yeah.
Cowboy boots with the kilt. Yeah, it's another one that's a hard freaking no from me. Yeah.
Buckle Brogue Crocs. There you go. There's a new one for you.
Hey, you won't rip the laces.
Crocker brogues. buckle Crocs. Buckle Crocker brogues.
Crocker barrel?
Yeah. They're delicious.
Cowboy boots. I just saw that one on there now.
Yeah. No.
More basic, even more basic. The other one I was going to mention is wearing the sporran too loose so it hangs super low. So it's like down between your thighs. And it's like,
yeah.
I mean that's just a learning thing, but that always bugs me.
Wearing flip flops.
A lot of shoe-centric things.
Yes. I would say flip-flops, depending on. Again, I've railed against flip-flops for years now. But if you're on the beach at a beach wedding, I'll begrudgingly say fine, flip-flops. But no kilt hose at that point. And other than that, no, hard pass.
Gilly brogues tied up like Roman sandals.
Well,
So
when they
must-
go
oh my
like
gosh.
Really, it must be
crazy.
really long laces to go up that high.
No, I've seen that on some companies' model shots, and it's just like,
Yeah, they
you
go
know.
up like twice or three times.
like trying to do
Wow.
them like Vickelbonder or something. It's just like
Yeah.
so freaking stupid.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. All right.
uh.
I want to know what your worst kilt mistakes are, let's say by newbies or experienced people who just don't care. Let us know in the comments what your worst mistake is.
Yeah, like one you did yourself, or maybe one that you helped somebody out with, because I think that's the responsibility, guys. Is you pull someone aside and gently say, "Hey,
Did you know
did you know
this is
a better way
a
to
thing? Yeah. Are you aware? Informing people of the rules without being too caustic in the way you approach them. I agree. We should all be-
in private, ideally.
Yeah.
So you're not embarrassing them.
Agreed.
Yep. Okay.
All right, Mac.
All right, so we have Bill asking. He's interested in a 5-yard kilt, but he's nervous about measuring. He's wondering how much room for error is there between measuring for different styles of kilts.
Sure. The style, whether it's 5-yard, 8-yard, semi-trad, tweed kilt, I wouldn't worry about differences from one to another, with the exception of from one company to another. I would make sure you're using their measuring instructions. And I encourage people when they get nervous about measuring. It's honestly not that hard. If you have questions about measuring, call us, send us an email. We have videos on how to measure.
We do have videos.
It's much easier than you think. Now, we've had some people that'll say like, well, I'm just going to go to a tailor and have them measure me, because they get really, really, really nervous about it. Generally speaking, no, don't do that.
Nope.
I always warn people not to do that, because what ends up happening is the tailor you're essentially giving over all power to the tailor, and you're saying, you're going to tell me what I'm supposed to do. And the tailor is not financially on the hook for this kilt. You are. The tailor's not making this kilt. We are. So I would say don't go to a tailor, because if they measure the way they want to measure, if they say like, oh, you need your waist, your hips, and your length. Cool, I got that.
Yeah, they're just going to go on autopilot.
Yeah, they're going to go on autopilot for the way that there's a risk they would go on autopilot for the way that they would make a pair of pants or something like that. And then they're going to measure you their way. They're going to measure as snug as they would want it to fit, not as snug as I would want you to fit it. So do not go to a tailor. Follow the measuring instructions from the company where you are going to get the kilt. If you're getting it from us, from USA Kilts, we have measuring instruction videos on how to measure. Follow that, and it's honestly not that hard. The trickiest one is the length, and that's why we ask you for your height, because we backstop you. If you tell us what your height is, we know about what the kilt length should be, and we also give you 3 different ways to take the length measurement. So we are making sure, as best we can, that it will fit you, perfectly by the time you get it. To add another layer of you're good to it, kilt straps. The strap that actually comes on the kilt, the leather strap, has 5 holes that span about 3 inches. So when we make the kilts, we're going to make whatever measurement you give us to the middle hole. So let's say your waist measurement you say is a 40, and you pulled that a little bit loose. You had a big dinner that night, so you measured around the widest part of your belly, and you came up with a 40. And we're going to make the kilt to the middle hole as a 40. You can actually tighten that down to 38.5, or let it out a little bit to 41.5. So you have a range of about 3 inches that it will fit. Now, when you get the kilt, you no longer have your big dinner. Maybe you did a little bit of cardio in the weeks till you got your kilt, and you're back down to a 39. The kilt will still fit you. You won't need any adjustment. So that's the beauty of having leather straps on a kilt, is it's not like a pair of pants where it fits or it doesn't, or you need an elasticated waistband. It's the adjustments on the straps on the kilt would actually give you a bit of play, so you don't really have to worry about it. Mac, is there anything that I'm missing for measurements and being scared or anything like that?
I think his biggest, I think he popped back up here in the comments. His biggest concern is going from a casual to a 5-yarder.
This is different.
Okay.
That's the one thing. It is different from a casual.
Yeah.
But
so if it's a casual kilt, the casual kilt you can wear at the low waist, like your jeans waist, or around the widest part of your belly button. That's really the only difference in measurement, is you're measuring up higher. And if you're a guy with a big belly that sticks out in the front and you're wearing your casual under the belly, then yes, wearing it up above the belly button or at the belly button is going to be a different measurement. So for that, yep, that's the only difference, is that the casual you can wear at either height, whereas a more traditional kilt like our semi-trad 5-yarder or an 8-yarder are all worn above the belly button. So good catch on that, Mac.
yeah, fresh measurements every time you want to place an order for a kilt is a good idea. Do not rely on measurements from the last time you ordered something from us, or from when you ordered from someone else,
Or when you were a senior in high school.
or when yeah. Take the measurements now.
Yep, and as you said, don't, even if you said, well, I just bought this kilt from company X over there, this is a 38. Well, where was it made? Is it made to a 38 jeans waist? Is it made to the middle hole? Is it made to the first hole, the last hole? There are too many things. It's a kilt is, when done properly, a kilt is a lifetime garment. A kilt is an expensive garment made to your measurements. Why just guess? Why say, it's close enough? Why not just take the actual measurements? It doesn't cost any more. We're making it to measurements one way or another, so you might as well have your accurate measurements, so that way it's going to fit you perfectly every single time. So, yes. Cheers. All right, who's that? Mac?
That was Mac.
Eric.
Hey, Kyle Calhoun says, I'm attending my first burn supper in January. What should I wear?
Burn supper.
A Burns supper, oddly enough, in January.
Who knew?
Yeah.
So, Robert Burns, National Bard of Scotland.
The Immortal Bard.
The Immortal
Immortal Memory.
Yes, Immortal Memory. Yes,
National
thank you.
Bard, the Immortal Memory. Bard of Ayrshire.
Yes. His birthday was January 25th, celebrated the world over by some people. On Burns Night and Burn Suppers, you gorge yourself on haggis and neeps and tatties and delicious, delicious whiskeys. What do you wear? Typically speaking, a Burn Supper is going to be a little bit more casual. It's more of a party type atmosphere. It's going to be, singing. It's going to be not singing necessarily, but poetry reading. There's going to be singing. It's going to be dancing, frivolity, if you will. So it's not generally speaking, a Prince Charlie formal type level event. Although I would double check with the host on whatever event you're going to, what they are considering the dress for the evening. And it's anywhere from, jeans and a t-shirt if you're just having a local one, just to celebrate and do something, all the way up to formal. But most kind of fall into smart day wear kind of category.
Right.
Eric, what are your thoughts?
Exactly what he said. Basically tweeds are usually the go-to. In terms of tartan or colors or anything, it's personal preference. I personally like something a little warmer because it's winter, so I like to veer more towards browns and reds and such, just warmer tones, because my perfect burn supper is held in a very rustic setting by candlelight. You kind of get
Roaring
that
fire.
Oh my gosh, I wish.
Yes.
But
Peat smoke.
I've definitely been at one with candlelight, never with an actual fire in the fireplace at the same time. But it's that kind of feel. It's supposed to be cozy. It's supposed to be, like you said, it's kind of rustic because that was Burns's attitude and his background, his personal background. So yeah, tweeds are basically the way to go. Something that feels elegant but not ostentatious. What we would call smart day wear, even though it's in the evening.
Yeah. Sporn wise, what would you wear
Hunting.
to a burn supper? I was going to say hunting as well. Hunting sporn would be very, very smart, especially with tweeds. Jacket and vest, or just vest if it's going to be indoors and you tend to overheat a little bit. I would say, you can wear a plain dress shirt, a plain white dress shirt, plain blue, like a pale blue dress shirt, or tattersall or something like that. Hose, just nice pair of kilt hose. Tone with the color of the kilt, tone with the color of the tweed, something to that effect.
Yeah.
Hunting sporn or a nice day wear sporn. Mm-hmm. Hopefully not too beat up. Nice belt and buckle. Yeah, it's a nice, good outfit. Shoes. Where would we go on shoes?
Probably just do brown wingtips.
Yeah. Say wingtips or a pair of ghillie brogues.
Maybe ghillie brogues.
Yeah.
Sure.
Brown ghillie brogues if I'm wearing a brown sporn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed. Now, what setting would you want? Because when you said rustic candlelit thing, I was like, I'm thinking of like the Dobbins house, Mac, out in Gettysburg. Or I'm thinking like the Kimberton
Or Kimberton Inn, yeah.
Yeah, like an old hotel with the roaring fireplace.
Yeah, hotel or a restaurant that's been built in, old inn, which we have a few around here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, some place where you can have you have candles on a table at least. Enough, I think a good burn supper is in the eye of the beholder. And you can have an amazing burn supper in your home. Lots of people do. We talked about that in the video we did on burn supper some time ago. Link over here. But yeah, you can do it in your home. But again, it's supposed to be cozy. So like, I think a nice restaurant like that where you've got that kind of candlelight atmosphere and you have enough room, because ideally you want to be able to get up and do the Auld Lang Syne singing at the end. Where you cross arms and do that, so there is singing. And you want to have enough room for like the pipe for the procession to come in and out without any hassle. Like when we went to the casual one at Sly Fox, I remember them trying to, wingle around the tables and the crowds because it was packed, and just like, excuse me, important thing happening now. So I think, a good size venue. If your local Celtic Society is hosting it, or a Masonic Lodge is hosting it, or St. Andrew's Society, it's going to be whatever venue that they've got access to.
Yeah, but you don't even have to have a full venue to have one. Like I know Ian hosts
one in a warehouse.
Yeah, Ian hosts a local one just for a few of his friends kind of thing. And he said like nobody really gets dressed up. It's just something fun to do. Read a little bit of poetry. I think he's one of two people that wear a kilt to it, and it's just a fun thing for friends to do on a Saturday night kind of thing. So, yeah.
I wish I had the whole address memorized. I came close at one point.
Ian's address,
I
can get that. It's fine.
Right. Ian's address memorized, so I can go stop. Just have my nose up against the window.
Ian, let me in on what haggis.
No, the address to the haggis.
Yes.
I used to have most of it down, but now I don't anymore.
I could never memorize an entire speech like that. Nope.
I think I could do it.
More power to you.
I should try it. But yeah.
Indeed. Like, what's the shortest poem Burns has? Is it 2 lines?
None
Is it
of
a
them.
haiku? Maybe. Maybe a haiku. That's about the extent of my memorization skills. Yes. All right, Mr. Mack.
All right, we have a unnamed husband who is watching from home. May or may not be married to someone in the marketing department.
Okay.
Wants to know if we've ever officially partnered with any sports team on tartan designs.
Did we partner with a sports team? Colleges.
Colleges, yes.
Yeah. So we partnered with colleges. Was it Utah State University? We did. Darn it. Chestnut Hill College we did. Trying to think of other colleges. Can you remember any, Mac?
I know we've done stuff for different colleges, but
yeah,
particularly like
Those are the two that I think I designed. I think I designed Utah State. Did I?
I think so, because I know
Yeah.
we have some of that over
think
there.
you did.
I know we have it. I think
Yeah.
I designed it. I'm not 100%. Chestnut Hill, I know I did. Yeah, trying to think of any other ones we did. Sports teams? No.
It's usually bands.
We've looked into certain things
Yes.
of that.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. The licensing for getting sports team stuff is ridiculous. I'm not about to play around with all that. That's why we have our Sterling tartan collection. Is basically our Sterling tartan with which is a gray scale kind of tartan, and then we have a couple colors in each individual. So we have a sterling red, a sterling blue, a sterling green, where we pick 2 shades of green or 2 shades of blue or 2 shades of red, and that is the push for the tartan. So we have tartans to go with sports teams, but none that we've designed specifically for sports teams outside of colleges that we have done.
Yeah.
But we did kind of like we did the Broad Street Bullies tartan for the Flyers, just because I wanted the tartan to match with my Flyers gear.
Yeah.
Do we do any other ones? No, I guess that's about it.
It's usually bands. I mean, like we did West
Yeah.
Point's. We didn't design
Yeah.
it, but we did West Point's kilt for
Yeah,
them.
we've done stuff for.
Bands. We've done Dropkick Murphys. We
Yep.
did the Pub Crawlers.
Yep. Almanac.
Albanac, we did theirs. Kudu. We
Kudu.
did theirs.
Yep.
Any other bands we did? No, that was it.
Members of bands.
Yeah,
We got,
yeah.
You made kilts for Madonna, but that's
Yeah.
not. a
Yeah,
band.
well, that wasn't
But
our
that's not
tartan.
different.
That
That's
was,
show business,
Yeah, that was Mackenzie Dress Modern. Yeah,
and they were weird.
that's true.
Now, Mr. Husband watching at home, whose name I'm sure does not begin with P,
And in Ettrick.
what would be the dream team? I'm wondering what people would love to see us do a tartan for a team. I'm going to say it has to be because, I mean, coming up with the team colors is the problem because a lot of time they're so simple. So I'm going to say
Usually 2 to 3 colors.
think
for
about the
teams.
colors of your team and then add 1 color in for spice. Like, well, no, seriously. I mean, like something that just
Spicy.
pick it up a notch.
Spice it up.
Kick it up a notch. What team would you want to see, team or school you'd want to see a tartan done for?
Yeah. And if licensing wasn't an issue, which it would be.
It's obviously licensing not an issue. Let's
What
say
team?
fans or
fans
alums of
or city tartan.
Yeah,
First
the-
team in the
Glee
comments
Club.
is Buffalo Bills.
Buffalo Bills. Okay. Red, white, and blue. American Dream.
American
Dream.
Dream.
Yeah,
we already got it.
Done.
they were
American
done.
Dream. I got you.
Watch day.
Cool.
Okay.
Excellent. All right, Eric.
Yaza. Okay. Colin A. McLaughlin says, what would be a better investment, a semi-dress sporran or a different addition to my kilt attire? I have one nice-looking day sporran with some fancy-ish braid designs and a silver pin. I normally wear my kilt for casual lunch or dinners with friends and some dressier occasions like church or a show. So, what would be better, to get a semi-dress, kick it up a notch that way, or is there a better way to kick up a notch his kit?
Okay.
I'm assuming that kind of level of investment, that amount of money
Okay.
that a semi-dress sporran would cost.
All right.
Let's imagine that's his budget.
150-ish.
Yeah.
We'll say 150 is the budget-ish. Well, and we'll go on and off. We'll say 150, and then because I have my idea is more expensive than 150, but worth it. So he has a mostly casual,
Yep.
a little dressy-ish, but not like formal or anything like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't you go first, Eric? Because I don't want to steal yours, and I think I'm going to steal it.
You bastard.
Giving you the first shot so I don't steal it.
I'm a fan of sharp casual day wear, so I would say that you get a lot of mileage out of a tweed vest. Frankly, I mean, I do think a nicer sporran is a good idea because most of us have like a day sporran and then one for nice. But in a sense, some tweeds you'd get more mileage out of it more often. So.
Okay.
At the very least, a tweed vest, maybe with lapels, maybe with a tweed backing instead of the acetate lining on the back. So it just looks kind of sharp but not stuffy, so you can wear it anytime.
Okay. I like that.
Get a nice
So-
neutral-ish tweed color that'll go with multiple tartans if you own more than one kilt, which he didn't really tell us. So
Yep, but he does have a Daysporn. So let's say this. I'm going to assume your Daysporn isn't too ratty. So for option number 1, I'm going to say your Daysporn is serviceable for casual, very casual, all the way up to like a nice dinner kind of thing. Where I would go is similar to the tweed vest. I may do a nice sweater. I may wear a cable knit sweater or something like that. Something a little that you could. I'm giving versatility. I'm saying maybe they can wear a sweater for other things as well.
yeah, granted.
Indeed. Well, you took the one I was going to say, which is tweed vest. So I'm trying to do something else. Sorry, Dad. No, but I think a nice sweater, because you can wear it with other things as well, and whether it's a cable knit sweater or just something else that just tones well with either your specific kilt or a bunch of different kilts, great. Now, I would say maybe do the sweater to match a pair of kilt hose that you have. So if you have a gray sweater, maybe gray hose, that can help balance it out and look like you did it on purpose. If I'm removing the $150 price limit to this scenario, then my go-to would be not a semi-dress sporn. I'm not really a fan of semi-dress sporn. They're kind of, when I first started wearing kilts, I like them because I'm like, hey, look, it's like midway between. It's dressier than a day sporn. It's not as quite as nice as a full dress sporn, but you can wear it to some nice-ish kind of stuff. I've since kind of come back off of that mentality, and I've kind of fallen into the it's neither fish nor fowl camp, where it's not really fancy enough to wear if I'm going to be dressing up fancy, and it's not casual enough if I'm going to be going to a Celtic festival or a concert or something like that. So I'm not really a big guy on semi-dress sporns. And if I'm wearing a tweed jacket and vest, I think there's much more interesting sporns to wear with a tweed vest. So my go-to as a sporn to kick it up a notch from a day sporn, and if you really don't do much formal stuff or any formal stuff, then I'd say a dress sporn is almost a waste of money. I would do a fur hunting sporn. I would do a hunting sporn with the fur body down below the leaves on the hunting sporn. That would be chef's kiss. It dresses it up. You can wear it like great with a tweed jacket and vest, but you can still wear that specific thing dressed down a little bit. That's kind of the perfect sporn for me for the middle ground without being a semi-dress.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
I don't disagree, except, I mean, if you're going to kick it up a notch like that, then if you're going to spend that much money, then maybe a jacket.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
maybe
jacket.
maybe going for a tweed jacket or a tweed jacket and vest set.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's even more than I think a hunting sporn is going to cost. But it depends on the hunting sporn, doesn't it? I forget what those.
Yeah.
I forget what ours.
Yeah,
go for.
they're the tweed jacket and vest together is more than a hunting sporn.
I don't think a semi-dress sporn is a bad idea, but I would be selective about what style you get. I think I don't like the chrome. I think semi-dress are more forgivable when it's antique metal, if at all possible. And I also prefer the cross chains and a darker fur, not the white. I think that's just just looks kind of meh to me. But if that's the price point you're dealing with, I think you can. It's not a bad idea, honestly.
Agreed.
When you get sick of the tassel, you can just take them off. Shave the fur off, make it into a day sporn.
Give it a mohawk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
or
not.
dye it. Yeah.
That's rough. No, but I hope that helps. There's a lot of different ways you can build your outfit over time. And like Eric says, it's like eating chips. It's one, or eating peanuts is one at a time. You don't have to do it all in one go. Save up, get the right thing for what you want to look like in the end. Buy once, cry once. You never heard that before?
No, I don't know if I have. Maybe I have, but
Yep.
I do think a deadline can help though. Sometimes like think about the occasion that you really want to change it up for, and make that your trigger. So that can help.
Yeah. Agreed.
Okay.
Cool. Mr. Mac.
Alrighty. So we have Sir Owen of Upstate
Upstate where? New York?
I'm guessing New York because he's also the one that responded back with the Bills. So
Okay.
I'm guessing
Definitely.
we're
It's
going
probably
upstate New
Rochester.
York. He looks like he's going to start doing something this year that I'm going to attempt as well. He's going to start hunting this year.
Ooh,
Yeah, you're going to go hunting, Mac?
That's the game plan
that's
this
the
year.
goal.
Okay.
Planning bow as of now, just doing bow. But
Brilliant. Okay.
we'll
I
see
wanna
how it
hear
goes.
About that. Okay.
But he wants to do what Kilted. Are hunting tartans called that for a reason, or is it just a name? And what are Highland hunting traditions? And he's asking if we've seen people that hunt in a kilt, like what would they be wearing?
We've addressed this before. I think we did it a couple months ago, maybe, but I think these are classic questions. And
Yeah. Think of
step one: hunting
yes,
or hunting tartans.
Are hunting tartans to be worn for hunting? Spoiler alert: no. They're essentially just a marketing term from the mill. Think of it that way. It is a way to differentiate tartan B of this clan from tartan A of this clan. So in the case of Robertson, there's a Robertson red tartan, and at some point, Mr. Robertson, way back when, said, I don't want the red one anymore. I want to do something different. And poof, I'm making up a scenario. This isn't actually what happened. But, poof, Robertson hunting exists. And it may have been one before the other or whatever. But it's a term to differentiate one tartan from a different tartan in the same way that dress tartans, generally speaking, ones with more white, not always, but most times, are a different variation than their normal clan tartan, and they're just using the term dress as kind of a marketing term or just a term to differentiate it from the other things. So no, generally speaking, a hunting tartan isn't one that you go hunting in. The romantic notion of you could go hunting in it, it's going to be, generally speaking, darker than like the red of the regular clan tartan or something like that.
Yeah.
And
Deer don't care about. They're colorblind.
yeah, but the other way I'll spin it into existence as well is thinking of a tartan like Mackay. Okay, the Mackay tartan is green and navy blue, or bottle green, navy blue, and black. It is a dark tartan, just like Blackwatch. You don't say Mackay hunting. It's just the Mackay tartan. That's the one. You don't say Blackwatch hunting. It's just Blackwatch. When you get into tartans like Robertson, where there is a red variant or a red tartan for Robertson, you have to call the other one something. So let's just use the word hunting to describe it. So it's only in tartan or in clans that they have more than one tartan that they use terms like hunting or red or dress and things like that.
Now, query.
Yes,
You're implying, the way you said that, you're implying that the mills did it as a marketing ploy. I was under the impression that it was, at least in some cases, something that was initiated by a clan laird or someone else.
It may be.
And my impression was, and this is somewhat subjective, is that it was an alternative which was a bit more relaxed, and the idea would be, it's not so much hunting, but about where you are when you go hunting, which is your country estate. So it's something that's like, the Victorians were so into having different rules and aesthetics for different contexts. They lived for that shit. So, you had different things you wore in the country versus things you wore in the city. So the idea, I thought, was you had a hunting tartan because that was one that you would wear when you're at your estate, and then you'd have another tartan, which is what you'd wear when you were in the city.
And dressier.
Yeah, and dressier.
Yeah.
But
that may be. I am not saying. I shouldn't say. I will retract my
it's not
statement.
something
a
I've
little
looked
bit.
at in a long time, so I'd want to.
I know.
Let's call Peter.
Yeah, the hunting tartan phrase may be the mill. It may be a clan chief. I don't know who originated the phrase or the term hunting. And it may be. I'll even go a step further. It may have been a mill that said it the first time, and then then another clan chief said, "Hey, I want a second tartan. I'm going to call this one the hunting version of our clan tartan," or vice versa. a clan chief may have said that to start with, and the mill said, hey, that's a good idea. Let's do that for other clans too. And now we can make more tartans and have people buy more stuff.
This is where we find out it was the Sobieski stewards who came up with the idea.
Probably.
Who wants to do more special art?
Yes.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. So that's basically it. Now, in terms of a tartan you would wear specifically for hunting, whatever.
Black Watch.
We tend to suggest something that's more camo-like. Although I'm not going to do it because I'm going to wear freaking electric orange. I'm sorry.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Leave no trace.
Maybe.
I'm not going to say anything about that. One way or t'other. Ain't going to say nothing.
Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah.
Insert Robert Downey Jr. Maybe.
Second question was to give you some separation space.
Mac, what was the second question?
Second part of the question is what Highland hunting traditions, and those who have we seen anybody, pictures of anybody out there hunting? What were they wearing?
Sure.
Right. And we have covered this before.
Yeah. For the most part, in the Highlands, people are not hunting in kilts. Generally speaking, +4s, +2s, and they're wearing tweed. They're wearing hearty cloth stuff. They're wearing, high, essentially kilt hose or shooting socks, which are kilt hose plus an inch or two. So they're wearing, very, very hardy clothes because there's a lot of, brush that you're going through in the Highlands trying to, walk from point A to point B. There's not a lot of trees, but there's a lot of ground cover.
Right. It's different terrain, and it's wet.
Yeah.
Did people traditionally hunt in kilts? Yes. It's less popular to do now. I occasionally do catch pictures of people who are going out deer stalking wearing a kilt. So some people still do it. Some people used to do it. And gillies, who are the guides who take you out into the hills, would traditionally wear kilts. And part of that, honestly, I think was partly marketing. Because even in the 19th century, there was a tourist element to this stuff. So you want to make it as exotic and exciting as possible. But so it's for all the images you have of guys in kilts and stuff to hunt, you also find from the period cartoons mocking the hunters going out into Scotland and not knowing what they're doing. There's some great vintage cartoons of the gillies kind of laughing at the idiot tourist with his gun. But in the States, modernly, my attitude and from what I've sussed is that if you're actually doing something like duck hunting, it depends on if you're going to be in a blind or not. If you're walking around, going after whatever game you're after, like if you're going after a bird, like grouse or something, then maybe you go kilted. If you're going to be sitting up in a tree stand all day, no, I wouldn't personally. I'd stick with the canvas or the jeans, the flannels.
You got to worry about the bugs too. You got to worry about ticks in the Highland. You got to worry about the midges. You got to worry about things that are going to be biting and attacking your skin.
That depends on the season. I mean,
Understood.
If you're talking hunting season here, it's the cold.
Yeah,
it's the cold and the damp. I would think. Well, Mac, you're going to go hunting this year here, so you're going to go kilted?
Not putting it out of the question.
Are you going for deer?
That'll probably be the case. Yeah.
Okay.
The one thing I
got a million questions for you. First of all, will you be selling off or giving away any venison if you're successful?
Depends on where I go.
Mac's venison stand coming to 724.
Oh my gosh, I wish.
The one thing you touched on that I think is actually a very interesting and astute thing that I like to remind people of is just because just because something was done a specific way doesn't mean that it was always done a particular way. Mm-hmm. And you touched on the tourist thing. You don't, when you think and you see pictures of gillies wearing kilts, you're not necessarily understanding why. You're like, oh, they must be hunting in the kilts. They must be doing that. No, they were doing it as a marketing thing to get more people to go with them. In the same way, like tour guides in Scotland today. The Tartan Viking or Andy the Highlander, they will wear kilts to add to the experience, to stand out from the other tour guides. You walk down the Royal Mile and you see the guy dressed as Braveheart and you get to take your picture with him. If you take this scenario of people, let's say 100 years from now, your great-great-great-grandkids say, like, oh, this was my great-grandfather when he went to Edinburgh in 1998 or in 2024, and he took a picture with his Highlander. See? guys actually dressed like that back then. They really wore this. They really painted their face blue. No, it's a marketing thing for the guy to make a couple bucks on the side, panhandling on the street for tourists.
Okay, I will temper that with saying that there's a bit more nobility to the tradition of being a ghillie.
I'm not saying
and
there's
most of
not.
them were attached to estates.
I'm not
so
saying
you
there's
get
not.
you're getting into also, was it the livery of the estate? Was it the traditional uniform for the estate as set up by the lord of the estate? And some people just did wear kilts in the 19th century because they preferred the kilt, but it was a mix, So
I'm not saying there's not.
Okay.
My overarching point is you can't always trust
don't always know the reasons.
individual tiny things. You have to look at the broader context, and you have to
Yes.
think within it and think through the entire thing.
Yes.
Is there a reason why this person was wearing or doing or acting or whatever in this moment in time? That's all a photograph is. That's all it's just a snapshot of a moment in time. So you have to think through the entire process. And people back then had the same or similar thoughts, urges, concepts and things that we have today. It's just 150 years ago.
I think it's to some degree it's form follows function. I know guys who do like to go out into the woods in a kilt, but the Highlands is a very different environment than the woods of Pennsylvania or upstate New York. If you're hard scrabbling over rocks, on the AT and going up in a tree stand or something like that, then maybe a kilt is not the option for you. Or maybe it is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Let us
Mac,
know.
I want you to film everything you
make
do.
out. Indeed. All right, Mac.
All right.
What were the responses
Oh.
to the question of the day?
All right. I'm leaving one for the very end here.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
That was the first one we got in. So the one person says antique skin dupe, being very specific here, a gold kilt pin featuring a thistle cutout, purple sapphire, a garnet secondary stone, and a blue sapphire as a third stone with bloodstone inlays. So they're
Okay.
That's very particular.
Alrighty.
Collins like a pocket watch.
Okay.
Simple.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's a good addition.
Pocket watchers are great.
Welsh dragon brooch or a chocolate bronze brooch, and then the rest saved towards a trip to Scotland. Black
That's
tie
not something you
cufflinks,
own.
You own the
matching
memories, Eric. You own
Yeah,
the
not with my
Yes.
memory. My memory sucks.
Take video.
tie tack cufflinks matching Art Deco thistle kilt pin. Nice firstborn or mink firstborn.
Like it.
Chieftain's vest.
Okay.
Okay.
And what's the big one?
The big one. Okay, I'll go up to the big one for you. All right. Thinking a purple patent leather with titanium buckle brogues and a matching sporn to gift to Rocky.
Rocky. And who said
Thank
that?
you.
Edward. Edward Tate.
Thank you very much, Edward. I will hold it in a place near and dear to my heart and bury it in the backyard.
What do I have the Iron Man theme in my head now? You're talking about shoes. All this, like, what was it? It was like patent leather or no?
Purple.
Patent leather.
Purple patent leather. For some
Yes.
reason, I went to like boots of lead. I don't know why.
Indeed.
But okay.
Very good. All right. Thank you, boys and girls, for joining us. If you have any more thoughts on our question of the day, put them in the comments. Until next